let's have a little bit of fun with our project. So the first thing that you can see is that our dog is way too big for our beach. That is not the size of a dog, although I wish that it was. It isn't, and we want to make sure that we can resize this dog layer without affecting the rest of our document. So we're going to go up and select our dog layer just by clicking on it. And then we're going to press the keys Command T, which is bringing up those transform dots that we saw when we first brought our images into Photoshop. If you use the items up the top to drag, you can see that it's making him bigger and smaller. The side buttons also do that and keep it in perspective. If you were to hold Shift, you can see that he gets warped and it's easy to misshape him. So let go of Shift. You can use the side buttons as well, and it keeps everything in perspective. So I'm going to keep him around about there. Once again, if I am happy, I can press Return on my key, and it will make him a new size. Okay, so I'm going to open back up our folder. I'm going to bring in our glasses. So drag and drop onto our Photoshop canvas, give it a moment to load, and we have some sunglasses shown up right here. Let's resize these together so that we can put them on our dog. I'm just dragging them down. I'm clicking, holding, and dragging. You can play around with this. Still a little too big, so I'm going to make them slightly smaller. That looks about right to me, so I'm going to press Return. You can see over here in our layers panel that this has been named glasses because again, that was the name of the file that we brought in. So we don't have to rename any of these at all, which is great. So the glasses are on top, but if you found that the layer has accidentally come in behind the dog, you won't be able to see them. So check the order of your layers over here. We want to make sure the glasses are on top of the dog on the beach. I want to show you how to delete a layer because we no longer need our background layer or our layer 0. So let's get rid of it because it could get a little messy over here if we keep everything. We're going to just simply click on it. You can either just hit the delete key or you can right click and press delete layer. It will ask if you're sure. You can click yes. So all we're left with is our beach, our dog, and our glasses. I want to show you how to make a text layer. So far we have 3 image layers. We're going to come over here to our T tool, which is our text tool, and we're going to select that. And then we're going to click on our canvas. And you can see that it comes up with some text already here for us, highlighted so that when we start typing, it'll override it. I want to write here, day at the beach. Nice and simple. When I'm done, I'm coming over here to click the Move tool, just to reset everything. Now, if you come over here on our layers panel again, you'll notice that there is a T next to this layer because that is our text layer. This helps you differentiate between what's an image, what is a text, what is a shape, and all sorts of different kinds of layers. We're not going to get into them all in this lesson, but for now, we can at least tell the difference between a text and an image layer. The good thing about a text layer is that you can edit it at any point. So as long as this T is still there, it is still a live text layer, which means at any point we can come in and make a change. And we're going to do that in a little bit. I'll show you in the next lesson. I want to show you how to add some effects to our text layer. So there are a lot of effects that Photoshop offer, but I just want to show you a couple of really useful ones, the ones that I use a lot, and I think that you might need them as well. They're commonly searched ones, and I just want to make them really accessible for you. So we are going to double click on our layer. If we were to double click on the name, it's going to ask us to rename the layer, and I don't want to do that. I want to go into our layer effects, which means I need to double click somewhere in the space beside that name here. So I'm going to double click. And it's going to bring up this panel called Layer Style, which is going to let us add any sort of effects to this layer that we want. I'm going to drag it down just a little bit so that we can keep an eye on our text. Anything you do within this layer style is going to show up in real time on the canvas, which is a great way to see if you like what you're working on. If you come over to the left-hand side, you'll see this one called Stroke. If you select that box next to it, you'll see that it gives an outline to the text. I'm turning it off and back on. If you click the stroke bar, you can adjust how thick or thin the stroke is and what color that stroke is. So I can make it a red or anything I want. I'm going to keep it black. The second thing I want to show you is a drop shadow. I'm going to select that on, and you'll see very faintly underneath there, and I'll zoom in a second and show you that there is a drop shadow. If I click on the space beside the words drop shadow, we can go into the drop shadow settings, which let us make the shadow darker or lighter. Select what color the shadow is. I'm going to leave it black. Select how far away from the text the shadow is. You can see it moving behind it there. So that's all I'm going to show you in here. I just wanted to add a stroke and a drop shadow to our text just to jazz it up just a little bit. Once I'm happy with this, I'm going to click OK. Over here on the right hand side, you can see that our text layer, Day at the Beach, now has two separate effects listed underneath it. Here's our effects, which we can toggle on and off at any point using our eye tool. We have the stroke, which is our outline. You can turn that off if you changed your mind, or our drop shadow, which we turned on together just before. This tiny little arrow right here lets you hide that. It's still on because we can see the little FX here, which means that there are some layer effects here. But I don't want to look at all of this because that to me is really messy. So I'm going to close that up, and there is our text with our brand new effects on it.